Hello, I'm here today talking about NBN issues, and I'm lucky to have Ebony Aiken, who is the NBN Co-CEO for Victoria and Tasmania, and they look at the customer service for Victoria in terms of the rollout of the NBN. So welcome, Ebony.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So when I go out and about and talk to small businesses, especially in the regional areas, the NBN migration seems to be a huge issue, actually, in terms of, I guess, they don't understand what they've got to do before the migration and what happens through it. And there's a lot of those Chinese whispers about, the worst case scenario. And so there is a bit of a fear factor there. So I just sort of wanted us to talk about what it actually means for a small business?
It's a great question, and particularly around regional and remote Australia, where we see a lot of small businesses particularly might go to an IT professional, for assistance. For us, the biggest thing for them is knowing what type of services that they have within their business. We do have a business readiness checklist on our website, which will guide them through some of the things they need to consider. So, do they have multiple phone lines, for example? Plans is another one when they're shopping around with providers. What type of business offerings do they have?
Okay, so one of the questions that I keep getting asked is around keeping their own phone line. So they might have a business phone line now, or they might have multiple. What do they need to do to make sure that they can keep that number?
It's a really good question, and certainly one that I would be encouraging them to have very early on in their discussions with their provider, particularly around porting their number across, particularly for those businesses that might have multiple phone lines. Again, I think going on our website, looking at some of the tools and information that we've got there to help them guide them through the process.
How will a business know when the existing service is going to be disconnected?
We send direct mail to a home or business, and obviously in this case, business very important, and that will be addressed to the business owner. And the reason why that's important is for us, we don't have details on that particular business or the person who owns that business. So I would encourage people to keep an eye out for mail from NBN. When we do switch on an area, we send a piece of material which has not only information on how they can connect, but their disconnection date. Failing that, if they don't see that material that we send, they can certainly go onto our website, type in their address details into the address checker, and that will actually give them the information of their particular disconnection timeframe.
And so we're talking about this business readiness checklist, which is a great idea, and I think every business should go on the website and have a look at it. But what are some of the factors that they should be considering when connecting?
So particularly for business, some of the things I think they really should look at is, again, multiple phone lines that they might have in the business. Do they have fax machines that they still might be using? FPOS machines? Any type of special service as well is another key one, something that might be very particular for their business. And they're all the types of questions that we ask on this business readiness checklist. It really is a clear guide of the questions they want to ask of not only their retail service provider, but also their device provider as well. That's a really key one. So if they do have a service that's specific to their business, I would be encouraging them to contact that device provider and ask about compatibility on the network.
What should you do if you've got a complaint?
In the first instance, if you are experiencing, if your business is experiencing an issue, absolutely the first point of call is your provider, and they will run you through sort of a number of sort of checklists. They'll look at your modem, maybe where the modem's positioned. They'll look at your number porting and whether that's gone successfully across. If they've done all those diagnostic issues and still haven't been able to sort of find where that issue might lie, they will raise a ticket with NBN for investigation. My tip for anyone, whether you're a business or a home, is to ask your provider for a reference number. That way you know that issue has actually been raised with NBN. That then also allows us that if the person, the home or the business owner chooses to come through to NBN's contact centre, we will ask them for that reference number, and that allows us to look back into our system and do a bit more investigation.
Great.
No
So what
worries.
I got from that is that the business readiness checklist is a must. Go onto the website and have a look. That reference number, great idea. If you do have a complaint or issue, make sure you capture that and then it can be checked. And if you're still having issues, you can always call the VSBC or email us. And if there is a dispute with your telco or anyone else, we can help resolve it. Thanks very much today, Ebony. That
No
was
worries.
great.